We are live on Facebook. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Favorite and Barrett with NeeNee Productions. We are so glad that y'all are joining us both on the live and on the replay, and we have something cooked up that we're so excited to share with you. Consider this a film festival from your workplace, your car, the grocery line, wherever you find yourself. And we are so honored to be able to hear mostly from our sister Favorite, who was one of the featured storytellers in the film Sauti. That we are going to be able to watch a trailer of, and more extraordinarily hear Favorite's story. So welcome, y'all. Thank you for coming and being a part. Where are you guys coming to us from?
Boulder, Colorado.
Yep. Yes. And who's over your head, Favorite, that we want to make sure we bring into the conversation? Who's the sister in the painting?
That's Betty. She's one of the characters in the film, in the documentary, and as you watch the trailer, you'll be seeing and hearing more from her about her life and how she has come to make it in life.
Yes. So for those of you that are brand new to me or to these sisters and NeeNee Productions, just a quick context. This is the Seeds Storyteller Series, and I, as founder of Seeds of Exchange, put this together because I am blessed with a treasure trove of amazing sisters and brothers around the world that I love to be able to share their stories with the intent that, as extraordinary as they are, as these two, as filmmakers and as activists and as leaders in our world, that you lean in as the viewer and you find your story here and find your unique way to make a difference in your home, in your neighborhood, in the world, and to do that together with us, because that's how we love to roll here. So I'm going to take a moment and hop off and share this to a couple other pages while Barrett and Favorite chat with you. So I'll be right back.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Favorite Regina. I come from Uganda, where I've lived for more than 20 years. And I'm here today to share with you a few stories and also learn more about the Sauti film for the 5 girls who are making it through school.
And I'm Barrett Strong, and I'm part of the filmmaking team. Had the tremendous good fortune and honor to get to travel to Uganda and to a refugee settlement where our film characters lived. And the main director of the film is actually doing jury duty today. She's doing jury duty all week, or she would be here with you. And that's Gail Nozal. And so Gail and I worked closely together, and because of the film, we met Favorite and Betty up there. This portrait of Betty, she was only 16 at the time, but everybody's, an adult now. It's a coming of age story, and Favorite was always the leader and the elder of the 5, and has been a mentor to all the other characters, actually. So thank you for tuning in today.
Yeah, sure. We can't wait to hear your questions and get back to you.
Yes, and thank you, Favorite, for saying that. So as we go, y'all, whether on the live or on the replay, please post your questions. We will be following the comments and questions, and we hope to keep the ripples of conversation going. But for those on the live, we have a special Q&A at the very end. So if there are any questions that come up or story that you want to hear more about that Favorite talks about, please post it in the comments. And Emma, who's supporting us off screen, and I will be watching those, and we'll make sure that we post those. We will wrap up in 45 minutes, well, now 40, at about 12:45 Mountain Time. So we have some time here to dig in and have a conversation with Barrett and Favorite. But before we do, just a quick moment that we have now come to have be a bit of a cornerstone for us at Seeds of Exchange, and that is to take a place of pause or a pop. with the intention that it is a blessing to you if your day is going at a lightning speed, or night if you're on the other side of the world. We hope that this creates a moment for you to catch your breath, to find some peace, to perhaps hear a little whisper of wisdom that you need in your heart, in your mind, in your spirit. And what came to me to share this morning is from my book, Soulfully Ablaze, that is a section on garden life that I wrote when I saw some crowding in my garden. And I believe as change makers and as people just being human, sometimes our lives get crowded with really beautiful, amazing things, or with hard things, weedy things, pokey things. And whatever, if you find yourself in a place of crowding, or if you find yourself in a place of dormancy, this just came to mind to read a snippet of. If you want to hear more, post and I'll put a link below. But one recent summer day, my garden spoke to me deeply. It beckoned me to come and see, to be still, to ponder. As I did, I saw it clearly. There was far too much growing too close together. At this rate, the plants would start to choke each other out and no longer be able to thrive. So I'm going to go down a bit on the page. Wherever you are, in whatever season of life, may your time of seeding, lying dormant, maturing, producing, harvesting, exchanging, and flourishing be blessed. Now, for a place of stillness or surrender, if you're at a place where you can close your eyes, sit back in your chair, do it. This will take 10 seconds. No matter the season in your life's garden, pause here. Be here. Breathe here. Let the thoughts that come be gently plucked from your thinking mind. Let the worries be weeded. Bask in the soil of this space, this place of rest. You are loved. Be loved. Breathe it in and let everything else go. So, my friends, I hope that whatever is going on in your world and in your life, that you felt kind of a bubble of space to be and to be still. And Barrett, I wanted to ask you if you would share a little bit about what it is that brings you peace in your life. Because in our time before the call, you'd mentioned a practice or a commitment in your life that I just thought would be cool to share with our people.
It reminds me of what we just did, your pop. I am a sort of old meditator, but a lazy meditator. But what I do breathing practice and kind of Buddhist style meditation, shamatha practice. But I also do a lot of loving kindness perspective taking practice, where I really try to take in what I think is someone else's perspective. And it could be someone suffering in some other part of the world that I want to feel my heart connecting with their heart or their situation. Or it could be somebody I'm having a conflict with in my life now, and I'm needing to soothe myself and come up with some empathy with that situation and that other person. And then I actually sometimes try to inhabit the perspective of the other person. It's an imagining, it's imperfect, but it helps me feel loving kindness toward others and soothe myself when I feel a hurt or an anger or a sorrow,
Wow. Thank you.
Wow.
Right, favorite? Wow.
I think everyone and most people need that
Mm,
meditation when
mm,
they're in difficulties so that they take the right decisions.
mm.
Yeah, for themselves and for the rest of the world and everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
true, true. So, thanks y'all for sharing that. And for those that are just joining, this is the Seeds Storyteller Series with our sisters, Favorite and Barrett, with NeeNee Productions and the film Sauti. Um, that we're just going to dive into having a conversation, and we invite you to cozy up on the couch in Boulder, Colorado, with Favorite and Barrett, or me here in my office in Denver, and really be a part of this conversation. We believe that anyone who is listening to this, there is a sense of destiny, that you are meant, that there is something for you in this story, that you are hearing and about to hear more of. And so look for the treasures meant for you. So we're going to dive in, and will you all share a bit about the film Sauti, um, and kind of the arc of that story, and why you all decided to make it, Barrett, and for you, Favorite, to be a part of it.
You want to go first?
Um, I think Beret is the first person to go
Okay.
all the way from Boulder to Uganda. There was a reason to connect his favorite to make them come out.
Mm.
Yeah, so I repeat for Beret.
So this story begins with Gail because it was her connection to the Think Humanity Girls Hostel in Hoima, Uganda, that getting to know the girls who were, it's kind of like a boarding situation in terms of like you live in the hostel and then you go to a local high school. And these were girls who were all in the refugee settlement of Changwali, or were in communities. It could be Ugandan girls who'd be in communities nearby who had financial need around education. And girls, have a really hard time in Uganda. But the girls, now women in the film, are from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, and South Sudan. So they are all five are refugees with different stories, a lot of trauma, a lot of very early leaving their countries and growing up in a refugee settlement situation, which is a hard life. Yeah. And then the film is a coming of age of like what is the experience of the five of them and their aspirations and and it was the reason why Sauti's translation, because that's a Swahili word, is voice, is that it was a finding of voice and an expressing of voice through not just speaking, but there's drawing, there's singing, there's dancing, and a learning for us as filmmakers. So
yeah, I think for my side it was very interesting because in the beginning I did not understand why this was going to happen, but by the time we had gone like 1 year, I think it took us 5 to 6 years
to
make the film. So it was something very intense, and of course because of the backgrounds of the refugee girls and the expression levels, it wasn't easy, but you get to learn from them the stories of how they have been able to come out of what they have gone through, all the way from Rwanda, all the way from Congo, due to genocide and the wars that have been in Congo for over 20 years. So it's very interesting learning and getting to hear their stories and how every woman in the world, or every youth or every child, can be able to live a better life and have a better future if they have mentors and if they are guided in one way or the other. So we all live to help each other and learn from each other.
Yeah.
Have a better future. And
yeah. Thank you, Favorite. That's beautiful and I love it. What would you guys, in a moment, y'all, we're gonna play the trailer of the film so you can get a little feel for this incredible story that Favorite and Barrett are speaking of. And just to note, in the write-up of this live, there are links galore, including a link to the trailer and to websites and Facebook pages, and you can just have a blast connecting with these folks. And we put together our top 5 kind of nudges for inspired action directly related to this film and this community and this movement. And one of them that I want to mention is we launched today our August Seeds of Exchange Facebook fundraising partnership, which is for the Sauti Women's Fund. And we have a $1,000 goal to raise, which with our $1,000 match, that'll get us to $2,000 by the end of the month. And we profoundly believe that as a community, we have plenty. So whether you have $5 to give or the whole $1,000 to give, we invite you to be a part of this movement of education and empowerment and community that the Sauti Women's Fund is fostering. And I want to make sure you note, we believe that philanthropy is about more than just money. So there's lots of cool, we would love any connections you have with in the film industry or folks that you think would love to learn about this project, these stories. So dive in and check out those top 5 recommendations of what we thought could be fun steps for inspired action, and maybe make your own, pass them on to us. But I want to dive in and ask you guys each, before we show the film trailer, what would you say is the why, the life's why for Favorite and the life's why for Barrett, in terms of what gets you excited and makes you feel like is part of like the epic umbrella purpose of your life?
The big umbrella purpose of my life is like, it's for everyone to learn that for any situation that you go through, you can always make it in life. And is for my big why is that it's not only me that has gone through the situation that I went through, but there are many other people around the world that are going through the same situation. And so they need people like Favorite, they need people like Barrett, they need people like Sarah, and they need everyone who is listening to this to come out there and help them. But if I start small today, helping them go to school, helping them find their future, helping them find their careers, they'll be able to live the reasons why they were created for.
Wow, thank you. How about you, Barrett?
That's such an amazing question. I'm like thinking, I have about 5 answers.
I know.
My life. But I would say around filmmaking, which I have been doing for 25 years and which I dearly love, my background is as like a academic and a writer, but I love learning and connecting. And so film is this amazing tool, since we're an audiovisual world and a conversational world, of connecting people who have something really important to say, who may or may not have a way to get a broad audience with an audience that really will care and wants to know. And I find that every film is a whole universe, and Sauti is a gift that doesn't end for me because of the relationships I formed and my actual love of Uganda too, and love of Africa, but very specific love of each of the women in the film. So that the honor of getting to help make the voice go out into the world, like Favorite's voice as a character in her story, is something that moves me deeply. And I think I'll be making films till that my life is over, because I like it so much.
So cool. Well, and for those watching, please, we would love to hear what you would say, or why, or your passion, or your purpose is, because we believe as storytellers that I always find clues and inspiration as I hear from my sisters and brothers um, what they are up to and what they love to do. And so please share, because we would love to hear what yours is. And we're going to take a moment to share a glimpse of what Barrett's Life's Why has, with her team of many in the NeeNee Productions world, helped to bring to life in this film, Sauti. So this is a trailer, and you will find in the write-up there is a spot that you can go into, and for $7.99 you can watch this trailer yourself.
Watch the whole film. I mean,
watch the film. Good Lordy, I was looking at the word trailer. Thank you. Not the trailer. The trailer is free right here. So let me make sure. Just 1 second here. There we go.
If you walk at daytime, they can get you, they kill you. We used to move at night. We got an old man to help us, who is transporting what charcoal into Uganda. Then from there, they registered us as refugees. Now they took us to Changwar.
Years ago, young girls fled from war.
You remain in a refugee situation.
Catching the knife.
If I got married now, will I go in the garden? Will I have to get baby?
And I'm working hard so that I can be an important person. You continue praying for me.
Things may not always work as you hope, but that doesn't mean you lose hope.
We did the last interview.
I will travel. Even now to see where the earth is ending.
Yeah,
Ooh, hang on.
that was a good one.
Hang on here. Something happened here. Sorry, peeps. Sorry, y'all. Oprah chiming in. Okay. Is our sound back?
Yes.
Okay.
We didn't lose you.
I have watched that trailer so many times, and every time it just brings tears to my eyes and goosebumps. And how is it for you? You've watched an infinite number of times. What do you feel and think as you watch it?
Many films about
Yeah.
up. And the first time I saw it, I wouldn't believe it was me. And because I had never seen myself on a big screen, like going on. And then whenever I see it all the time, I feel like, wow, there's a lot. It reminds me a lot of life and how I really needed to work hard to achieve my goals and my dreams. And sure. So I encourage everyone to watch the trailer, but also go watch the full film, because it's good for your daughter, it's good for your son. Teach them life and how they have to live their purpose.
Yes.
And find what they want.
Yes. So, Favorite, let's back up a little bit, and will you share with us, with those that are watching, where you were born and how you ended up, what brought you to the Changwali refugee camp, and ultimately to connect with Gail and now Barrett and Emma and the whole team of NeeNee Productions.
Wow, you can always find all that in the film. But what brought me to Changwali, I was born 1990 and from Rwanda, and then genocide had to happen. And so you know what comes with war. People have to find where to live, a safe place, accommodation for them. I think my parents went to Congo where they would find a better place, but it wasn't all good until we moved to Uganda. So living in Uganda for about 20 years, it's been not easy, but challenging.
How old were you when you got there, Favorite, when you first?
I think I was about 8, 9. I don't remember, but something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So living in Uganda has not been easy, but it was the safest place to live in compared to the 2 countries that we have moved in. And that's how I got to meet refugees from Congo, Sudan, South Sudan, Burundians, Rwandese, and many others. There are many was in many African countries, and they were all living in Changwali refugee camp. But then they realized that it was important for them to find education for themselves. But then because the education that was being provided wasn't enough to help them realize what was happening in the countries where the refugees were coming from themselves, but to educate themselves. So I happened to meet a group of youth who were trying to come together to solve problems of their own. And so I happened to join them and managed to go to school. And that was, at that time, it was called Koborwas, meaning Congo, Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, and Sudan. So those were all the countries that connected together and found themselves in the refugee camp. So they were trying to solve problems for themselves. So, and then later it came to be called CIOTA, meaning Koborwas International Youth Organization to Transform Africa. This was because they realized not only Congo, Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, and Sudan were facing war, but it was an international problem. It was a global problem, but then it needed to include everyone, people to come and join the conversation. What can we do for our countries? What can we do for ourselves? And that's how I came to meet Beret. I met Gael Nozo and Charity Watson, who connected us, and then that's how we're able to tell our stories of how we have been and how we have been able to connect with each other to educate ourselves and solve problems for our communities without having to wait for other people to come and do it, when we can be able to also put a hand in that.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that link is also in the write-up for those that they have a Facebook page and are up to some incredibly significant and change-making things. So make sure you loop in with Favorite and Corobus there. So again, if you have questions, please post them below. And Emma, at this point, if you see any that come through, will you chime in, either pop your head on screen or chime in off screen, and make sure that we see those. I'm going to keep an eye out too, but let me know. The hand popping in from the side. That's awesome. So Favorite, how long have you been here on this trip, and what brought you here, for this, what brought you to be sitting here with us in Boulder, Colorado?
So I happen to be working with Koboras, of course. After uniting with other youth in the refugee camp, I got the opportunity to go to school with MasterCard Foundation. I'm so grateful. And then I went back to give back to my community, and was obliged and supposed to give back to my community. And I had to work with Koboras, which you can find us on Facebook, and we also have a website. You can always enjoy and see what we are doing in the refugee camp of Changwari. And then for this trip, it happens that I've been coming here for many times. This is my 5th trip to the US in just 3 years. I'm so excited about it because I get to learn a lot and develop myself. So for this trip, I came because to participate in Golden Bridge, which is also a non-profit organization that runs a leadership camp for leadership programs, for personal development, and knowledge about awareness of individuals. So we do more of creative liberation, we do meditation. So I'm running and developing in many ways. And also for the past week, I think this week we are running about creative liberation, because we find it's an important thing that we all need to live, and we all need to learn how to work together, communicate as a one global world. Yeah, so that's how I happen to be here, and it happens that we had the meeting with you. And
such
so
a treat.
Sure, I'm so excited about it. And I've been here for the past 3 weeks.
Okay.
Sure.
It's awesome. I'm so glad that you're about 30 miles from me, which is terribly close. I love that. Someday we'll be together, but this will do for now. This is amazing. So Barrett, I would love for you to share a little bit with folks about your heartbeat and the heartbeat of NeeNee Productions around storytelling, kind of what we were talking about with just the passion to create this stage or a microphone for people to be able to share their stories. And can you tell folks that don't know about NeeNee what you guys are up to and why it matters so much to you?
Well, I wish Gail were here, because it's her
Yes.
creation, and I'm a team member. But in terms of its history, I got in very early because Sauti was the first film. And since then, there's been another finished film, which is about a wolf refuge in Southern Colorado, which is it's on the film festival circuit right now. And then there are other films in the pipeline. But I think, with Sauti, there was a great discovery period of how do we respect the voices of young women who are really very different from us culturally, economically, et cetera. We're in this position of outsider privilege coming into their world. And when girls, and Favorite was older, so she was in a different realm from some of the other characters like Betty, but when they've been subordinated by, kind of patriarchy in their culture, subordinated as refugees in a country that doesn't grant them citizenship, et cetera, there's a sort of squelching of voice and agency that can happen. And so part of the Gail's mentoring was to try to think of ways to help the characters who ended up being in the film express their true stories and voices, and be comfortable doing that. And that was and a lot of pain comes out of that, because there's trauma history. But that's where the drawing you see, the drawings you see in the trailer, the dance we had nothing to do with. That's a tradition, and the singing. Beatrice, who's singing against the wall. When you asked how do I feel about the trailer, that song breaks my heart every time. And I don't know what about it, but there's something about the feeling that comes out. And she is the troubadour for the film, and she's the gorgeous singing voice. Mm-hmm. And so everybody had their own way of expressing. And so I think what matters so much to us was to come in and do no harm, right? Because when people come in from the outside who are in positions of power, it can be really kind of awful, right? Yeah. But instead see if we could collaborate and facilitate and somehow have the film be a benefit. I think it's certainly a benefit to the audience, right? That's clear.
Yeah, right.
Been moved by these stories,
right?
And so I think we feel proud.
Yeah. Well, it's led to the two of you sitting together here today, which is so beautiful. I mean, that's one thing that strikes me about collaborations with this emphasis on learning and mutual learning and community. I don't know, I was so struck when you were talking, Barrett, about how with so much of life, especially with creative projects, really anything that has creativity in it, we sometimes just have a glimpse and we just make our way one step at a time. And there's so much mystery and humility that comes with not seeing our way all the time. And I love that Gail went in and just, with that commitment to be a part of telling the story, but letting it unfold and being a learner herself, and then your whole team having that posture of sisterhood, because it's palpable. I feel it and I love it. So thank you. And that is an encouragement to all of us, right? To just take the next step and see where it's gonna. You just don't always know the end game, and to loop people in to walk with you, because as Favorite said, there's just so much good that happens when we do life together. I love how you said that at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Hey, Emma, any questions to share with us right now, or are we good?
We're good.
Okay. So I would love, before we wrap up, we have just about 5 minutes here. Favorite, would you share kind of what is it that you would say is most capturing your attention as you are going about your life here in this season of life? Like, what is it that you are inspired by, that really is important to you right here and right now in your life?
Wow, that's a question that I have to connect and be able to answer. But what's the thing is that once you are living in a community like Changwari, life becomes very challenging once you finish school and you have to go back to give back and start working with the community so that you help them realize or find their path. So the challenging thing is that it's not easy to communicate or even relate with people in hurry when you are just coming from school because of the gap we have been creating. And if you realize most people who come or who are refugees, they have not been able to access education. So they are a little bit ignorant about some things, and of which you have to start from scratch, trying to help them learn the importance of having information or even knowing what they are supposed to do for themselves for a better living. Like as I'm talking today, we have over 80,000 refugees in Changwari refugee camp.
Wow.
That's a big number that makes me worried because most kids are not in school.
Yeah.
Koburas is trying to put many of them in school, but of course, we cannot do it for everyone. You have to try story by story, but it's something that captures my mind and keep thinking like, what next? And also there happens like, what do we have to do with other people who are just dropping out of school?
Right.
When because of just scholastic materials or sanitary materials, and then just end getting married. And then am I the only one as favorite, and a few people have gone to school going to be able to solve all this? Or what is the world, the community, like ourselves here who have been able or privileged to go to school and know what's going on, helping them understand and come out to help themselves also to live better and learn how to survive on their own.
Yeah.
Those are some of the things I keep fighting with, but we are the solution for all that. If we are to open up the stories of people and talk about them, and then help them understand that their stories, there is a reason why something happened for them to be who they are, and also anything can always be changed.
Yeah.
And they can live up themselves.
Okay, I have another question, because that just impacts me so much, and thank you for sharing. What would you say, Favorite, is like a steady, what gives you hope when you have found yourself in places of great struggle, whether it was when you first fled Rwanda, or when you first got to the camp, or even just the struggle of looking at the 80,000 people that are in the camp now and all the kids that you want to have in school? Like what gives you hope in the midst of the hard of life?
What gives me hope is that at least there are many organizations that are coming up to help kids be able to read and write, though not to achieve their goals or to high school, or be able to travel and innovate some things, but just that basic thing of them reading and writing gives me hope that at some point someone can be able to tell or even read signposts, or be able to meet someone and be able to connect, but also how the world is changing and how people are trying to come together to connect and learn from each other. That gives me hope that the world will come together and people will come to interact and network and help each other.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Barrett, how about you? We need to wrap up, but I just would love to hear for you. What would you say in the gut-wrenching, just hard moments of life? What what's a steady something that gives you hope when life is hard?
Actually, right this minute is such a timely question. It's her. It's Favorite, because Favorite, such resilience and such hope. And then when, you know, the goals you just articulated, over in this part of the world, those are like, it's us. We want more for our kids. You know, we demand more. We want the UN to be better funded. We want the UN to provide high school. We want. But to just say, we're gonna aim for what's doable, and then we'll aim for the thing that's doable, and we'll find partnership, and we'll find dialogue, and we'll do it. That to me is really inspiring as I sit here, because it puts all of my stuff in perspective. My frustration, my whatever's. I'm like, let's recalibrate, you know, my ability to even see things, and so if I absorb your worldview, I feel like, oh my gosh, you know, things are magnificent in certain realms. In other places, there's a lot of work to be done, but you're out doing it, you know, and in my small way, I want to be doing it too. So that's I look outward for inspiration. That's what I do.
Yeah,
and that helps me.
Thank you. Well, it's been a time warp. I just looked at my clock, and I know we need to wrap up. But my heart, my mind, my spirit is so full with love and wonder at your story, Favorite, at your big heart, Barrett. And I am so thankful that you are both who you are and doing what you are doing. And we invite all of you who are watching live and in the replay to loop in with this incredible community of Seeds of Exchange, of NeeNee Productions, of Caboras, and which really, when we boil it down, it's just a big community of sisters and brothers looking to make a difference in our own unique but powerfully collective, connected ways. So please keep the conversation going. Make sure you check out the just incredible treasure trove of connections in the write-up, with websites and all kinds of social media channels. You can just have a feast. And please consider giving to our fundraising endeavor this month, which is going right into this community at the Sauti Women's Fund. And we thank you guys for being a part of this, that are watching, and we just want to remind you that you are loved and that you belong and that we belong to each other. And that I believe when those things are rooted in us, we really stand tall and we make a difference together. So, sisters, thank you. Blessings on your day, and thanks again for being a part. Bye, guys.